didn't work.
It's like a brand new car, just scratching and all the stuff on your phone.
Yeah, it'll get scratched.
Was it 500 round trip?
It didn't work.
No.
Thought it could spin.
Hey, come here for a second. You won King of Europe?
King of Nations.
King of Nations this weekend and your V10 car. You beat Saito. How'd that happen? Are you better than him?
Yeah, he's just a guy with a flash car.
Yeah?
Yep.
How do you drive a 200 wheel torque M5 motor like E46 against like 800 horsepower cars? Was the track just slow and it didn't matter? Are you that good of a driver?
No, like smaller tracks obviously make a big difference. You know, if we were getting up into fourth gear, for instance, forget it, he's gone. You know, we're only 400 wheel in this. But yeah, the smaller track definitely helps. The BMWs put down heaps and heaps and heaps of grip. With Chelsea's help, we got the good alignment in there and definitely way more grip than power. And yeah, it was surprising, like first, second, third in this car was just as fast in a straight line as Sato's car, which is, yeah, really, really surprised me considering he has literally 3 times, what is it, 4 threes? He's got 3 times the power, so.
Yeah.
And this car is heavier, but this puts down the traction really well, so. No, for a car that was slapped together quite hastily, and for a car where a lot of the stuff still isn't working, it's definitely got huge potential. It's fun and it sounds sick and it'll be good. We'll have more power in it soon, but I'll still drive it the same way. You know, it just sounds cool. I don't want to have it off, you know, 8,000. We were revving it. We raised the limit at 8.6 during the battles.
It doesn't matter if they're making noise.
Yeah.
We're pretty lazy about this video thing.
That's it. But look, it is what it is. It did the job. It was getting hot.
Yeah,
and
you
stuff.
won.
Yeah. I had a run, like I said, I had a run with Sato in practice. I was really surprised keeping up, you know, in the initial run up, because it was one of these tracks where you just, from a standing start, you're like first, second, third, initiate. So that was a real surprise to keep up with him on the run up. Sat on his door around the first corner. And then as we transitioned, his car started spewing oil. And then I transitioned back and I was like, oh, I've lost. I didn't realize at the time, I thought it was just fuel. And I was like, oh, okay, I've got on the fuel a bit. And I lost a bit of traction from him. To be fair, like I expected him to pull away. And then we got to the end of the track and I was like, yeah, there's touched my visor and it's like, no, that's oil. Went over and spoke to Sato and he said, yeah, he's done his engine in. So I don't know, I guess, you know, he's used to having people on his door. And this thing screams so loud, maybe it was, you know, it's just cool, I guess. You talk about a group, you know, essentially what we've spoken about, it's like a Group B spec rally car, Sato's car. It's literally no rules, no limits, no nothing. It's banned in every sanctioning body bar King of Nations.
Yeah.
Because of how ridiculous it is. So it's definitely cool to chuck a V10 that's got less power probably than the original engine, or close to about the same as the power as the factory engine. I think factory they're like close to that.
Yeah.
So yeah, and this just sounds heaps better and it's interesting. I'm definitely not. I wasn't a BMW guy, but I'm definitely coming across. I tell you, they're really cool. Causes a buzz, does good things. The SLR steering with the BC suspension works amazing. Like,
plug in those sponsors.
Well, they're not sponsors. We paid for it all, so we don't even own the steering setup. So we've borrowed that off another friend's car here at the shop. But
yeah,
I've driven with it before, and I just like it. It's not a sponsor plug. I just enjoy it. Like it's suspension wise and steering wise, it's the same as Chelsea's car. So you know, everyone knows Chelsea's car's got huge potential as well. It's just that he couldn't keep an engine in it for 5 minutes.
Yeah. When is this car going to Japan?
Possibly going to Japan in April. You see my wife that's over there.
Yeah.
She's heavily pregnant, and the baby's due literally between the 2 Japan rounds. So
if this car's there in April, that means it'd still be there in May?
No, it'll go straight to Malaysia.
I was going to say, would it be there for Matsuri?
Oh no, I wouldn't.
That would be
This
hilarious.
anywhere near a Matsuri. To be fair, I was driving in Wales in the UK, and I was drifting a Lamborghini LP640 rear-wheel drive.
Yeah.
And it's the most retarded thing, turning up in a supercar to a start line in a Matsuri.
Yeah.
I was sitting next to like Escorts and Sierras and things like that in the UK.
Oh, he's jacking your car.
I already broke my
How do
trophy,
you
so I
fit
can
in
only
the seat?
break the car. I fit fine.
Oh, it's stretched out compared to the other one.
Is it?
Yeah,
There you go. I stretched it out.
it's a little looser.
Yeah, loosey-goosey.
Oh, way looser.
Suits you.
Ah. Way looser.
Testing out the car.
Just feeling her out.
BMW for next year, mate. Get rid of
Alright.
that ignition rubbish. And that's what we did too. I was having issues with the car catching on the reverse gate. So that's a drill bit running through the middle. That's a drill bit there.
That's cool that
And then we
you
put
can do that.
And we drilled that out and just tapped that straight into there. So essentially I can just yank back on it to get into second gear.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I'm not used to being on the side of the car.
Is this thing meant to do that? This type of shifter?
I don't think so.
What are those holes for then?
I have no idea.
Because,
Because I've got no
switch.
reverse now. 'Cause I can't get into
Press
reverse.
here, so it allows you to go to reverse.
Oh, but this thing just doesn't have it.
Are you ever gonna come drive in the USA?
Yeah, I'll just come and have fun with you guys.
Yeah.
FD looks okay, but it doesn't look that fun. Like definitely, it's hugely competitive, but I've done competitive stuff
Forever.
Like, yeah, competitive BMX before drifting worldwide.
Yeah.
And then competitive drifting, and I've done a shitload of stuff in Europe and everything else. Yeah, I guess if I came over and did FD, it'll just have to be the right deal, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to come over there and, with a car that's half built like so. And,
Yeah.
I want to come over there and,
Could you drive this car in FD?
as it is now, I could drive it in FD. There's definitely worse
Could you be
right
competitive?
now. Farouk's there.
Oh.
I went there. I'm right next to Matt.
Farouk's car is way better than this.
Oh, Farouk's
Say that again?
Farouk's car has more power than this and is way faster than
It's
this.
like 5 times the power of this.
5 times the power as this, better tires than this, and faster than this.
Yeah,
But that's about it. That's where it ends.
So yeah, I think
You could
it
drive
would,
my car.
I don't think it'd be overly competitive because these guys are all drag racing. They're drift racing. I like drifting. No, if I had a drift racing car,
Yeah.
that'd be cool. You know what I mean? But even on the weekend, like we definitely had the least power car in the field. Every time I'm rocking up on the line next to guys that are 600, 800, 1,000. It's just funny because I rock up with this thing and everybody's, anybody you go and ask, prediction, all right, how much power has it got? Have a guess. They're like
700.
750. It's like down. They're like 650 down. They're like 500. I'm like down, and they're like, no way, no. I'm like, keep going down. They're like 450. I'm like, no, and they go down to 400, and they're like, no. There's total disbelief because
Yeah.
they see the car ripping, and it's quick.
Yeah.
So
I was curious if the large amount of RPM in the car or something like that, with a lot of wheel spin, is what creates the smoke, because it sure isn't torque. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like how you spin those silly things.
yeah, a shitload of clutch kicks essentially. I don't really clutch kick as such, but it's like half. It's encouragement for the engine essentially.
Yeah, you just slip the clutch a little
Yeah,
bit.
you're sort of slipping it a bit just to get the revs back up. But yeah, like it only before they upped the revs in the top 4 for last weekend.
Looking at your shirt. Keep going.
Bandana boy. But they upped the revs for the top 4, and they said it gave me I'll give it another 15 horsepower. But the extra revs on that track I could definitely use. But I don't, even with those extra revs, it only revs to 8,600. So it's got huge cams in it, and it's still got the standard springs. So it's not really safe even revving it to 8.6. But the tuner just said YOLO and wound it up. So
Yeah.
he could tell that I needed those extra revs because it wouldn't hold third in the tighter corners, and second was a little bit short. So yeah, I said it's factory gearbox, completely factory diff. Hopefully we'll get it sorted.
And tell me why drifting is doing badly and how you're trying to make it better.
At home?
What are you doing to make drifting better?
At home in Australia, we're just like I guess we all love drifting, and the thing is like so much these days it's coming back to budgets and what you can do. You know what I mean? Like you've got guys like Matt and Chelsea who clearly didn't have the budget in FD and they're struggling, and you know what I mean, like really trying to push it, you know, and if you handed these guys a budget, you know, the shit's going to hit the fan. Like there's a lot of talented people in the world. There's a lot of people that are much better. There's people that are better than anybody we've seen that just haven't had the opportunity because they can't afford to blow $500 tyres off the back of their car every 2 laps, let alone afford the upkeep on a, you know, pro drift car. So allowing, you know, the skill to come forward. I come from a BMX background. Like you just slap a bike together and it's the most talented kids that are coming to the top. And that's what I sort of want from drifting. I want to see the coolest shit. So I put a tyre cap on our series back home in Australia, and it's working really well. So your smaller cars, your E30s, your KE70 crawlers, A86s are on a 195, your S chassis are a 235, and it goes up from there in weight classes. We don't go crazy, we don't go weighing every car, it goes off of their J spec weight, you know, their lowest spec weight. Because it doesn't cost any money to strip a car out. It doesn't cost money to make a car light. You cut, look, you just cut shit. You cut shit out and you got a light door. You don't need to buy carbon fiber doors. Like sure, they'll be a touch lighter, but that does the job. And we go from there, and then you've got guys with 300 horsepower cars that absolutely shred. And then you've got guys with 800 horsepower tires, 800 horsepower cars that can't get the actual grip down on the ground, so then they're back on par. So they can go out and willfully go and...
All right, go ahead. You were just saying something about tire size. Oh yeah, about the tire sizes, 235s and on certain size cars and everything else. So I guess it's just, you know, making a guy that can afford that 800 horsepower car work for it. He's not going to be able to just pull another gear and race away. It's not drift racing, it's drifting. It's about style, angle, you know, get running walls, going door to door. Like you really, it's such a big separation in countries like Australia, here in the UAE, so many countries, not everybody can afford to go out and buy all this crazy shit. And it's not necessarily the guys with talent that have money, and that's very much so not a thing. So, you know, obviously there's definitely guys that are born into money, have made money, that are sick drivers, and all the power to them. You know, Sato essentially being one. And then you've got guys like Nakamura, for instance, who is ghetto as fuck. You know, he's just like he's a thrasher. He's a street dude. And he's just doing whatever he can do to chuck a pair of tyres on the back of his car and go thrash. But he's like retardedly talented, extremely talented. So it's that point where if you were to chuck both those guys in a ring, like Nakamura is going to eat him up. Yeah. And I guess that's my point with it all. At the end of the day, you know, take away that money advantage and that thing and just bring drifting back to skill, and you know, skill wins out. And ultimately for the crowd, it's always better to watch. Yeah. You know, if you see the two best drivers, not necessarily just the best cars, because we all know, like, you can go watch missiles drive together or lesser, you know, spec cars, and it's every bit as exciting. You know, you can get two shitter Beamers and go and bang doors with them and have a ball. Yeah. And it's the time of your life, and everybody watching is super excited. So that to me is what drifting's about. It's style.
I feel like we are the only two grassroots people that host events that are trying to make drifting more affordable and take it in the opposite direction of like making everything a baby Formula D. Yeah. Because I see a lot of the series is like they want to be baby Formula Ds and push all their drivers to the most expensive cars possible to make the series look good, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. To be fair, like I'm telling my guys, like, you don't have to go out and buy sequentials and stuff like that. Please make your car look good. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you got some spare money, throw some graphics on your car, paint your body kit, get some good wheels, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, when the crowd turn up, they don't look at a car and be like, oh, that's got 1,000 horsepower, that's way cooler than that car that's got blah, blah, blah. Because 9 times out of 10, the car that's got 300 horsepower looks so much sicker than the car with 1,000 horsepower that's jacked up and real gay looking. Yeah. So, you know, my S14s, for instance, you look at you know, what Matt Power's car used to be, slammed green S14. Like, it got everybody excited about the car, and it looks sick and everything. And then you got like Matt's car now, which is extremely impressive, super fast, massive power. But to me, what a lot of crowd, and especially the core, would rather see that 300 horsepower car getting thrashed with a bunch of other sick looking cars, which shows by the momentum that the grassroots events are getting in the US. But there doesn't have to be that hate against comps. Comps can still be super fun and super fair on a tire rule.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's definitely not a bad thing. People want to do it, they come and do it. There's a market for it. So, you know, we're just catering to that market. And in my country, in Australia, there isn't a huge amount of guys with massive amount of money to spend on drifting, because drifting's dumb at the end of the day. It's complete and utter waste. Smashing tires, engines, gearboxes, like not every country has the ability to just do that endlessly. So I guess it's making it sustainable, building a solid base, and then eventually, you know, one day we'll build up. You know, F1 wasn't built overnight, WRC wasn't built overnight. That stuff's had years and years and years and years to build up.
How many people do you think understand that the 235 tire rule, which is a 235 whatever size tire, is about not saving money on $20 per tire, but because it limits the cars and horsepower and everything? Does that make sense? I feel like a lot of people can't even get through their brains that you're limiting the amount of horsepower they can have and how much they can build their car by limiting them on a small tire because you can't put the horsepower down.
Yeah, the thing about it is it's like, it's not saying you can't go out and spend all that money. It's saying that all this is doing is making things cheaper, so you're not going to break shit. Even if you go buy the best stuff. Again, FD, you're talking about the cars with all the craziest shit thrown at them, big dollars thrown everywhere. I wouldn't say Chelsea's is big dollars, but he's still throwing really good parts at his car, and it still breaks. You know what I mean? Like, because you're trying to force that power into the stickiest possible tire you can find and be as fast as you possibly can. When if you were to like get that same, but I'll use Matt and Chelsea because they're here as an example, you're going to see the same battle if they're both running their semi-slick tires, and then you'll see exactly the same battle if they're both running like the, what would you call it, the radial version of those said tires.
Yeah.
And most of the crowd will barely tell the difference. It'll be like a 15 kilometer an hour difference in speed. The crowd won't even know the difference.
And that'll be better.
Your car's not going to fucking brake. There'll be more angle, and I think it, you know, in my stuff it's been funner to watch. You know?
Yeah, your stuff's awesome. Well, every time I go there, I drive like a 300 horsepower SR cars.
Yeah.
And there's 1,000 horsepower V8 supercharged crazy cars, and you just walk away from them.
Yeah. But
that's because the car's set up well, and we know how to drive.
Yeah, it's knowing how to drive is a big thing, and then I guess from that, you get guys spending time and effort on small things, like just setup. You know, a lot of guys back home in Australia would just throw a set of sticky tires on and that's it, they could take off.
Right.
And it was only the top 3 or 4 that we were actually spending time on setup.
Taking weight out of the car and stuff,
Yeah,
all those
but
little
weight
things.
doesn't cost any money.
That's free.
You just cut
just
shit
your
out.
time, and you're always wasting time researching shit. Just go take weight out of the car.
It's like get off a forum or a Facebook argument for an hour and
Go cut some
go
bolts.
cut some shit out of your car. Grinder's the best lightning tool ever.
Oh, no, there we go.
No, trust me.
Matt jumped the rental car
Oh my
and destroyed the King of Nations trophy that Luke got last night.
That's okay, though. It's not actually broken. It's just where they glued it.
Well, it kind of fell apart.
Yeah, it's not attached right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's just where they glued it.
That thing will continue to fall off forever now. Trust me, we've got one at home that's exactly
Same thing, right?
Yeah, and the crown.
Crown falls off.
Yeah.
I remember.
What's it like to be a dick?
Could
Oh
be
wait, I'm a
worse.
dick. I should know.
How
Could
fun
be
was that
worse.
jump?
Not fun at all.